Good afternoon, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Yesterday, Kirill Marchenko scored his 25th goal in the third round of a shootout to give the Columbus Blue Jackets a 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. The Jackets extended their point streak to 9 games as they fight Detroit for the second wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. Up next for the Jackets, they host Carolina on Tuesday night. In the NBA, after missing the first 67 games of the season while recovering from a Jones fracture in his left foot, Max Strus has been upgraded to probable for Cleveland's matchup with the Dallas Mavericks today at 3:30. For the Cavs, Jared Allen and Sam Merrill are out, and Jalen Tyson is questionable. Yesterday in college hoops, Michigan punched their ticket to the Big Ten championship game after beating Wisconsin 68-65 on a late game-winning 3. They'll face Purdue at 3:30. The Boilermakers defeated UCLA 73-66 yesterday afternoon. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Live and local, it's time for Fan Sports Sunday. If the weekend is a big desert for sports talk, think of this show as an oasis.
Yes, here we go.
Come drink from our pool of hot takes as you quench your thirst with. I thought I was going somewhere, but I'm not. So let's just start the show.
Welcome into a Fan Sports Sunday. This might get a little confusing because it is the Dylan and Dylan show. Dylan Gonzalez here with Dylan Tyre, Isaiah Jacob producing, and I mean, Mike and Mike had a good run at this radio thing, having the same name, so maybe we can duplicate some of their success.
I was going to say, maybe this is the start of something. I like it, something fresh, something new. Dylan and Isaiah.
Yes.
Just split up the madness, It's very clear when you're talking to me.
There is not a third Dylan here to produce the show, so Isaiah is here. So I feel like the big talk today is, of course, this is Selection Sunday of March Madness. Ohio State has seemed to play themselves off the bubble the last 2 weeks, so they're firmly in. They lost to Michigan 71-67 on Friday. What do you guys think about this team? Do you guys think it looks like they're going to get like an 8 or a 9 seed, which unfortunately puts you against a 1 seed in the second round of the tournament if they were to advance? So what do you guys think of this team recently and what they can do in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I like Ohio State basketball lately. I think John Mobley heating up at the end of the season was a big reason for their success. But, you look at what Ohio State was able to do in the Big Ten tournament. They get that win against Iowa. It got a little bit scary at the end, but Ohio State escapes. And then they battled back against Michigan. I mean, it's a loss, but can you feel good about a loss? I think you probably can, the way that Ohio State fought back in that game. I'm happy to see the team make the tournament and get off the bubble. I think that's a step in the right direction because, think back to maybe the halfway point of this season where it felt like Ohio State would win one, then lose one, win one, then lose one. At that point, it was really sticky. It was okay, where is this program going? And I think it's a big win to get yourself off the bubble and get yourself comfortably into the NCAA tournament. Now, if Ohio State can win a round and, who knows, maybe play shocker in round 2, get themselves to a Sweet 16. Heck, if you were to get to a Sweet 16, I think you'd call that a successful season for Ohio State, right?
I mean, I think it already is. Mm-hmm. I mean, seeing as just where this program has been the past 4 or 5 years, I think them just getting off the bubble and being firmly a tournament team, like you said, is a big step for them. I'm kind of a cynic sometimes. I feel like they didn't play their best game against Michigan, which I guess you can look at as a positive. I don't think Michigan did either, but you don't play your best game and you go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the country. But if you look at the teams they have beat over the past 3 weeks, all of them seem to be kind of in a funk. Iowa, when they beat them down, they weren't playing well. They ended up losing 5 of their last 6 regular season games. Penn State just stinks. Purdue was struggling when they beat them. Indiana just completely fumbled their tournament chances the last 2 weeks of the season. I mean, you only can win the games that are on your schedule, right? But I feel like they really haven't beaten a team that has been playing well in this stretch. And that's what concerns me going into the NCAA tournament because all the teams are good.
Yeah, and I guess what you're saying is we'll see. We'll see if the Buckeyes are for real in round 1 because, they're going to be matched up with a team that's probably equal to them, close to it. So I'm excited to see. I think I was looking at CBS Sports' bracket prediction, and I think they had the Buckeyes matched up with NC State or something like that.
Yeah, so I've seen a few different 8-9s. I know Scotty and Biddle, they were talking about maybe Villanova I've seen in some brackets. The first round game, I think it's going to be kind of just a crapshoot, to be honest. Like I said, the 8-9 game kind of always is. That second round, I don't want them playing Michigan or Duke.
Why?
I just think both those teams are juggernauts. I mean, I know both of them are kind of banged up, and we saw them play. But they've played with Michigan 2 of the 3 times they've played them this year. So I understand people that maybe aren't scared of Michigan, but I just think Michigan and Duke are clearly the most talented teams in the country. Then you got probably Arizona and Florida that are going to get number 1 seeds. I'd rather see one of those 2 teams. What do you think?
I mean, you got to beat the best to be the best, right? Like, you're going to have to play shocker at some point if you want to make any hay in this tournament. I get what you're saying. I'm with you. Like, you don't want to have to play a juggernaut right away. You'd like to have, I suppose, better chances to make it to a Sweet 16. So let's worry about round 1 first, right? Like, let's worry about advancing from there because, I said and you said that it feels like a successful season for Ohio State to have solidified themselves as a tournament team. If they're able to win a round in the tournament, I'd say that that's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, I thought 2 things needed to happen. I thought Junie needed to eventually take over as the best offensive player on this team. He does that sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I was getting at. That little stretch that Ohio State was on, he was banging in threes, he was efficient, and he was their best offensive player, and maybe it hasn't been the case in the last couple.
Yeah, he's had a good half in these last 2 games. That second half against Iowa, he really came out and helped push them to that game that they tried to give away, but they got it. And then the other thing, and I think this is definitely has happened, Amari Bynum really refining his game, not just being the dunk guy. I think him and Tilly in the post against Iowa, they absolutely needed that. And they played okay against Michigan, and that's a tougher matchup for them because Michigan is so long and big. And Amari Bynum, he's like, I don't want to say he's the unsung hero of this team, but and then I'm getting really excited about him going into next year as well.
Why is that?
He's starting to shoot the 3 a lot better. Like I said, just being more than the dunk guy. He's just a lot more to his game, and you have that big class coming in next year, and Bruce Thornton, you're going to have to replace his production, and whatever you think about Christoph Tilly, you're going to have to replace him as well. They play Bynum at the 5 a lot, especially if Tilly's in foul trouble. Or if the matchup dictates, like against Iowa, it wasn't really a game that you saw Nagovin play that much. I want to see what Amari Bynum does in the tournament and then how he parlays that into next season.
Yeah, almost 32% from 3 for Amari Bynum. And, that all of this kind of what you're saying is why I consider this season a success for Ohio State. It's foundational, right? Like, obviously you have Bruce Thornton and you have to replace that, and it's a big deal for Bruce Thornton to get to the tournament with Ohio State this season. But despite all of the struggle, despite all of kind of the tumult in the program the last few seasons, Jake Diebler's done a pretty good job on the recruiting trail. Like, I think they have exciting players coming in, so if you're able to lay a foundation, get some experience for these guys on the roster, and let this kind of grow as the team gets better and you're able to recruit, bigger and better players, maybe you see this program go somewhere. Like, I want to see it get back to where it was with, Mike Conley and Greg Oden be a, perennial top 5, top 3 team. That would be terrific. And, I think the state of Ohio is a good enough basketball state to make that happen. So maybe we're seeing something here.
Yeah, I was someone when they hired Diebler, didn't want it. I wanted to see them hire someone with head coaching experience.
Oh, I was in the same boat. I'm like, this is Ohio State. Right. You could hire a name here.
Yeah, someone like Dusty May, or the rumors that Coach Cal wanted to come here, John Calipari, and you see what they're doing at Michigan and Arkansas, and you can't help but to feel like maybe that could be us. Those are 2, I would say Arkansas is a 4-ish seed, and we know what Michigan's doing. They're arguably the best team in the country this year. But once they made the hire, I made peace with it and was like, year 1 might be rough. Year 2 might be rough. I want to see year 3, 4, but it seems like to me, he's arrived slightly earlier than I thought he would.
Yeah.
Which was, he seems to own Purdue. I think Purdue needs to start calling him daddy. So that helped jumpstart this run for them. And, they're going to be making the tournament. I feel like there was a lot of people, including me, that doubted him, that thought that they were just going to be a bubble team this year and then they might be bubble out. But as we know, they're firmly in the tournament, and we'll see where they're going to get seated later today.
And I think that's a valid point to bring up the hiring of Jake Diebler, because I think a lot of people would agree with you where it's kind of like, okay, a relative unknown is going to coach Ohio State here. Feels like a program of this caliber could get a guy with head coaching experience, a guy that is a name out there, a guy that has, experience drawing big recruits to a big program. But here we are, potentially ahead of schedule. So it's funny how the script has flipped this season, because again, you go back to that halfway point and you're like, is this guy going to get fired? How much longer are they going to keep Jake Diebler in charge?
I was seeing there was hot seat articles and he's on it, which I wouldn't have went that far.
I agree. You got to give him the third year and see where things go from there. But hey, it's like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe we're building a foundation right now.
Yes. All right. So we'll see where the Buckeyes end up in the NCAA tournament. I think the selection show starts around 6 o'clock, and you can catch that on Channel 10. But coming up next, I'll ask Dylan if he thinks Bam Adebayo's 83 points were, quote, unethical, next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 5.89%, APR 5.92% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hey, Columbus, big news. For a limited time, get Uber One free for a full year so you could save on food and rides. That's a $96 value on us. Just use code Columbus. Get 1 year of $0 delivery fees, 10% off eligible food and grocery orders, and up to 6% Uber One credits on rides. Sign up for this limited time offer today using code Columbus and save big with Uber One. Offer valid through 3/31/26. Savings and $0 delivery fee on eligible orders and rides only. Fees and terms apply. See app for details.
Why choose between getting things done and doing things with the ones you love? With Kroger same-day pickup and delivery, it's easy to shop the same great prices and quality you'd find in store. We'll bring your groceries right to you, so you can spend time on what matters most. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save $20 on your first Kroger pickup or delivery order of $75 or more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment
on any 4-tire purchase.
And Goodyear's up to $160 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Goodyear's and save up to $160 more.
Store for details.
It's March. Send it in, big fella. That means the greatest sports weekend of the year is coming, and the best place to set the puppies and watch the tournament is at Hollywood Casino Columbus. I'm Scotty Vegas, and Thursday through Sunday opening weekend, kiss the kids goodbye and hang out from noon to 5 with the Fan at the Hollywood Casino Sportsbook. A Bill Raftery impersonation contest, free throw games, free shirts, and more. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. Onions!
At Great Lakes Hyundai, the savings are so good.
Take your
your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai. Shoot the hoop to get extra savings on your new car purchase. On top of big shot savings like 0% financing on 26 Hyundai Santa Fe's and Tucson's for up to 5 years. Plus, make no payments for 90 days. It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Dublin or Columbus or GLakesHyundai.com. With first credit, some customers may not qualify. Interest accrues during no payment period. New Hyundais come equipped with owner assurance and America's Best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Offer ends 3/31.
Hey, it's Common Man. And T-Bone.
And Timmy.
And Tyvis. Pizza Madness is here.
Oh, Pizza Madness, baby.
PizzaMadness.pizza on the interwebs. Vote now. It's brought to you by Billiards Plus.
Go vote, you stupid idiots.
Family owned and operated. It isn't all sunshine and rainbows. This is Dennis Sullivan, president of Care Heating and Cooling. Here's something you don't hear admitted very often. When you run a business with your family, you don't always get along with them. We argue, we debate, we have real conversations about the decisions that we make. But at Care, every conversation comes back to our priorities, doing right by our employees and our customers. Because when you treat your team like family, they take better care of the families they serve. And when you treat your customers the way you'd want your own family treated, trust follows. That mindset doesn't always maximize short-term profits, but it builds something better, long-term relationships. Today, more and more local companies are being bought by venture capital firms, where maximizing profits often leads to a sales-first mentality. Care is still family-owned and locally operated, so we can keep people, not profits, at the center of every decision. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING when you need a company you can trust.
A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. Over 90,000 five-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage doors is what we do. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Partly sunny for us today with highs getting into the low 70s and gusty winds, although not as strong as we saw the other day. As we go into tonight, though, we will see rain develop and eventually chances of thunderstorms, some which could be on the stronger side, so have ways to get warnings while you sleep. Otherwise, a breezy start and temperatures falling throughout the day on Monday with chances of scattered snow showers as we head into the afternoon. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan. We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
So I feel like this was a pretty exciting week in sports, including the Bam Adebayo 83-point game. A lot of controversy in regards to that. But before we get into it, I want everyone to hear what Bam had to say about people criticizing his 83-point game.
If you're in my shoes and you have, first of all, y'all are blaming me. You should be blaming the head coach. Get that first. I was not the one letting me go one-on-one the whole game until I had 70, then you started to send a double. At that point, I got 70 with 9 minutes left to go in the game. You think I'm not going for it? And that's the thing that's crazy when they talk about the unethical part of the basketball. I'm like, if I have 70 with 9 minutes to go, who would just be like, coach, just take me out? Yeah, right. Anybody in my shoes with 9 minutes left? Okay. A minute? All right. 9? Yeah, I'm going for it.
So I wanted to get your thoughts, Dylan. I want to get your thoughts too, Isaiah, on just the whole idea of Bam scoring 83.
In that quote, is he talking about blame his head coach or the Washington Wizards?
The Wizards head coach for not double teaming him sooner.
Well, okay, I don't necessarily agree with that. Blame the Washington Wizards, period, because they're putting him at the foul. Like, how many foul shots did Bam Adebayo make in that game? Close to 40?
I think he went 36 of 43, if I remember right.
It's absolutely insane. Like, they're putting him at the foul line that much. So if you want to put blame on anybody here, put the blame on the Washington Wizards. And this is where the ethical versus unethical argument comes in for me. The Washington Wizards are a tanking basketball team, right?
That's correct.
Is that ethical? Are sports ethical? Because we have teams tanking. Later on in the program, we're going to talk about tampering rules in the Big Ten and the NCAA. And you almost have to tamper. You have to, quote unquote, cheat to stay competitive these days. That's the case in pro sports, at least in leagues where you are incentivized to tank. If you want a high pick in a sport like basketball where you can get a generational player or franchise-changing player at the top of the draft, some teams have to tank to get there, right? And I know there's been a lot of conversation around the NBA to fix tanking, and I think there are ways to do it. I've actually discussed it on these airwaves with some of the other hosts. But to me, why are you blaming the guy that did it? I think people are only blaming Bam Adebayo because he is not a superstar in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He's not Kobe Bryant. He's not Wilt Chamberlain. He's not LeBron James. He's not Steph Curry. He's not any of these guys. In a lot of people's minds, Bam is not a good enough player to have scored 83 points in a game, and that might be true. On any given night, he's not going to score 83. If you look at his career scoring, it's kind of like, the 15 to 25-point range for Adebayo, mix in a few 40-point games, and then there's this one dot at the top of the chart where he put up 83 points. It's not his fault that he did that. It's the fault of the Washington Wizards. Half of the points came at the foul line.
Isaiah, what's your thoughts on this?
Everybody's professionals. Like, they're all getting paid big bucks to be out there. And I think the issue, as Dylan said too, is the tanking. There's teams that are out there on a nightly basis, some that are trying to compete to make the playoffs, and some that honestly don't care if they want to lose the game. They'd rather lose it. I know the players are out there playing hard, but at the same time, their front office isn't even allowing them to really compete at the same time. So it feels like that's more of the issue. Bam getting 83 points, that's just because the Wizards aren't trying to win games right now. They're fighting for the number 1 seed. Obviously, at the end of the game, when the Heat were fouling and trying to get Bam the 83, that's the part that I know a lot of people have issue with. But at the same time, I think him not being the superstar is the reason. People saw Bam Adebayo. He's a power forward, not even really known as a scorer at the NBA level. He's not Kobe. If it was LeBron that they did this for, would people be crying like this? I don't know. People cry about everything about LeBron. But at the same time, it's like, would they have as much trepidation over him doing that, like over them fouling at the end of the game? Once you get to 70 points, there's 2 minutes left. Like, yeah, go for the 81. Do whatever you can to get there. It's a historic moment. I hate that it went the way that it did, but at the same time, can you blame the Heat for doing it? No.
Yeah, you guys bring up a lot of good points. The whole thing about him getting a lot of points at the line, it's like, who cares? Free throws are a part of basketball.
It's true.
They were fouling him. It's not like everyone wants to make a big deal about the fouling and the Heat were fouling late, but it's not like the Wizards were intentionally fouling him. They were playing regular basketball and fouling him a lot. He gets to 70 points some point pretty early in the fourth quarter. And it's like, at that point, it's like, who wouldn't in that situation try to go for Kobe's 81, which isn't the record, by the way. I don't know what you guys feel about Wilt Chamberlain's 100. To me, it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, that is the argument that the Kobe people used to make, right? Where they're like, Kobe has the record because we don't even know if the Wilt thing actually happened.
Yeah, so that was way back in the day. There was, it wasn't televised, no video. 4,000 people reported in the gym, most of which are probably deceased at this point. Like, it's funny. We talked about, I think it was in the summer when I was filling in on Bishop and Friends, what moment would you want to go back to in sports to witness? And for me, it was like the Wilt game, because I want to know if it happened. I want to know if it actually happened or not, because we don't know.
I just think you have to credit Bam Adebayo for, what he did in the first quarter, what he did in the first half allowed him to do this, right?
Yes.
Like, he is typically a guy that doesn't have the ball in his hands the same way a Kobe Bryant or even a Wilt Chamberlain back in the day would, right? Those guys were the ones for their team. They are doing all the scoring. And I think that's part of the reason, too, that we're not talking about, like, when Kobe did this, when did he do it? 2006?
That sounds about right.
2006 or 2007, I can't recall. But, of course, social media was different back then, too. So you're not immediately hopping on Twitter after the game and saying, hey, this is BS. He didn't do it the same way that Wilt did it. I think just from a pure perception standpoint, Kobe Bryant was the guy with the ball in his hands at all times. So it's not surprising to see him taking all the shots in the fourth quarter, or all the shots even in the second half of the game, especially with some sort of record on the line. You're like, okay, it makes sense. He's an all-time great. He already has the ball in his hands all the time. This is acceptable. This is really cool. Because Bam is that player that doesn't always have the ball in his hands, you're like, what the hell is this? What's going on?
Yeah, I think Gordon Hayward kind of said that. He basically said, like, this is bad for the game because Bam isn't a scorer. Well, he was that night.
Yeah, like, what?
And you know, you could argue about who was the best player in 06, whether it was Kobe or LeBron or Tim Duncan. But if, to your point, if you had to guess which guy in that time was going to do something like score 81, you would have guessed Kobe Bryant. I feel like
absolutely
81 is a shocking number, but when people saw 81, oh, Kobe did it, like, yeah, that's impressive, but I'm not shocked per se that he's the one who did it. And I do think there is a shock factor that it was Bam who did it, and he's not. Well, here's another discussion. Does Bam now, if you include his college, Olympic, and this 83-point feat, did Bam play himself into being a Hall of Fame basketball player? Because it's not the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. It's just the Basketball Hall of Fame.
You do have to wonder, but I don't think so.
I hope not. I hope not.
I
But
don't think so.
It's funny, too, because you think about, like, I think it was last year when Donovan Mitchell had 71. And yet again, that wasn't that surprising. And the way that he did it was very similar to the way Bam did it. At the end of the game, Donovan was shooting a lot. And it's not unlike Donovan to be taking step-back threes, uncharacteristic shots, right? But for Bam, because he's not a shooter, it was weird seeing him shot-chucking in the last 3 minutes of the game, where when Donovan Mitchell was shooting every single possession, essentially ISOing, that's not a weird thing to see. Bam Adebayo's 6'10", seeing him taking step-back jumpers felt weird, and that's why the perception of it's completely different.
Compare this to Kobe Bryant's last game for me.
Ooh, yes. What did he have, 50, 60?
He had 60 in his last game.
On how many shots?
Exactly. It's not, and I'm saying this. I am saying this as like a huge Kobe Bryant fan.
Same.
I grew up in LA, absolutely love Kobe Bryant.
My daughter's name is Gianna, partially because Kobe Bryant's daughter, Gianna. But
well, there you go.
Yes.
And I think at that point, April 13th, 2016, Kobe scored 60 points in his final game. 101-96 comeback win against the Utah Jazz. He was 22 of 50 from the field. At that point, I remember people were like, but he put up so many shots. But at the same time, it was like, man, this is vintage Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to just let him do it because this is Kobe Bryant. And people are like, okay, this is cool. Like, Kobe went off in his last game. It took him however many shots to do it, 50, but he went off in his last game, right? So you're like, this is cool. This is Kobe. Bam took a lot of shots. Bam took a lot of free throws. And we're like, man, this sucks because it's Bam. Yeah, it's not LeBron or it's not Kobe or it's not Steph.
I think after this discussion, I've determined that this was more of a popularity contest issue.
I think
than
so.
anything else.
I think so. If it's any other player, if it's if Kat did this, it would be so funny. Or like Joel Embiid did this. If Joel Embiid did this, the discourse would be even better.
Well, didn't he have 70 last season or the season before? I think Joel Embiid has a 70-point game, so he's gotten relatively close.
But if he did it in this fashion, people would be...
Because he's kind of hated on
irate. They'd be
listen,
irate.
The guy scored 83 points. It's pretty sweet, and we're just all mad that it wasn't an all-time great of the game that did it because it doesn't add to some sort of... like you talked about, like, hey, does this make him a Hall of Famer? Well, if it's somebody cooler, we might actually be having that conversation, right?
Right. So the guy sitting to my right here, he is the Columbus Blue Jackets official radio host. They got a big win yesterday in Philadelphia. We'll talk about that next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
At Newman Roofing, we believe every detail matters, which is why we have over 1,000 five-star Google reviews from families all across Central Ohio who have put their trust in Newman Roofing for their roofing, siding, and gutter projects. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Nobody celebrates St. Patty's Day quite like Skyline. Come enjoy your favorite 3, 4, or 5-way made with green noodles. It's a tasty tradition that happens once a year, and March 17th is the day. Come and get your green ways at participating Skyline locations.
The Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is the place to be for all the basketball action. Watch every game at once on 2 video walls spanning 50 feet, plus over 30 TVs. Come show off your jump shot in our King of the Court drawings and take home memorabilia from a Cleveland basketball legend. We've also got unbeatable game day food and drinks all season long. Guarantee your spot. Reserve a table with up to $300 in dining credits at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co. It's well known High Bank is my go-to when I want an award-winning whiskey, but did you also know that they make the best vodka in America? They have 3 incredible spots here in Central Ohio where the food is just as good as what's in the glass. They've got something for everyone, and get this, kids eat half off every Monday, so whether you're sipping on the best vodka in America or simply grabbing a meal with family and friends, High Bank delivers every time. Find a location and a menu at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
So my Columbus Blue Jackets, your Columbus Blue Jackets, our Columbus Blue Jackets got a big win in Philly yesterday in a shootout, 2-1. They're really fighting for playoff position. I thought maybe with that win they would get in the playoff picture, but unfortunately they're still 1 point out, but right in striking distance of both the wild card and the last spot in the Metropolitan Division. Like I mentioned before the break, Dylan Tyers here, and he is the Columbus Blue Jackets radio host, so you'll hear him pregame, intermission, and postgame on the radio broadcast right here on The Fan. And since Dylan is here, I figured we got to talk Blue Jackets. So what did you think of the win last night?
I thought it was a great gutsy performance by the Blue Jackets. I mean, goal scoring was hard to come by in that one. The Blue Jackets have played great defensively. They just wrapped up a 3-game road trip, and they didn't allow 20 shots on goal in any of those games, which is quite a feat. You know, I think, 20, 25 shots on goal is a given in the NHL these days. And the Blue Jackets didn't give up 20 against Tampa Bay, one of the best teams in the East, Florida, the defending Stanley Cup champion, and then the Philadelphia Flyers, who had won 6 of their last 8, and they were treating yesterday as a playoff game, trying to get some key points on the Blue Jackets. They started the game 4 points back of the Blue Jackets. They're now 5 after losing that game in the shootout. So the defensive effort, very, very impressive by the Blue Jackets. And then Kirill Marchenko, a true star for this team now, scores their lone goal in regulation. That was his 25th of the season to lead the team. And then nobody scored in the shootout. Marchenko, the final shooter, he scores, and the Blue Jackets skate out of Philly with that 2-1 win. A critical win at this time of year. The Blue Jackets are 16-2-4 going back to January 11th. That's good for 36 points. The most points in the NHL, the best points percentage in the NHL, the fewest regulation losses in the NHL since January 11th, and it's still not enough to get them into a playoff spot. That's how tight this is right now in the Eastern Conference. It is absolutely insane. If you look at the NHL standings right now, the Blue Jackets overall are the 12th best team in the NHL. If you put the Blue Jackets into the Pacific Division in the Western Conference, they'd be in first place.
That's crazy.
They would be in first place in the Pacific Division, comfortably in a playoff spot. Instead, they're battling for a wild card spot. They're battling for positioning in the Metro. And it sets up an absolute sprint to the finish for the Columbus Blue Jackets. 16 games left this season, and every single one is going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, 2 of the stories in the NHL overall for me this year has been that the East is just significantly better than the West, and it would be nice if how long have the Jackets been in the East? Weren't they in the West when they first came into the league?
Yeah, they were in the West to start, and then around 2014 they switched over.
Yeah, so that would be great. But also you have this compressed schedule due to the Olympic break. So coming down the stretch, you're going to see a lot of games and not a lot of days, including this week where they'll play Carolina on Tuesday, they'll play the Rangers on Thursday, and then a back-to-back next weekend with Seattle. Here against Seattle, and then at the Islanders. What do you think of this stretch of games coming up this week?
So, I mean, every stretch is important this time of year. This is the busiest month of hockey in Blue Jackets franchise history. 17 games this month. So if it wasn't already hard enough, they're playing a ton. In fact, right now, these next 2 days, today and tomorrow, it's the first time and the only time all month that the Blue Jackets are going to have 2 days off between games. So rest up while you can. But it's a huge homestand. You've got Carolina, who's in first place in the Metro on Tuesday. The Rangers, who haven't been playing good this season, but still always play the Blue Jackets tough on Thursday. Then a playoff-hungry team in Seattle on Saturday. Back-to-back on the island with the team you were chasing in the Islanders Sunday. It is a critical week of Blue Jackets hockey. And then right after that Islanders game, it starts off a 3-game road trip. You've got Philly a week from Tuesday, and then the Montreal Canadiens a week from Thursday. Two other teams that are playoff hungry, chasing down spots. Montreal currently in a spot, but that's a team that's in the Blue Jackets' path. I mean, you look. Then after that, the Boston Bruins, the San Jose Sharks, the Hurricanes. Again, the rest of this month, it's all against playoff-hungry teams for the most part. You're either playing teams in your division or you're playing teams that are chasing down playoff spots. So, I can't remember it really being tighter than this in my time with the Blue Jackets. This is 10 seasons for me now with the CBJ, and this is as tight as it's ever been, which is crazy to think about after last season where the Blue Jackets just missed out by a couple of points. But the run that they have gone on since the beginning of January is insane. 2 regulation losses, and they're still not in a playoff spot. So all this team can do is continue winning, and hopefully somebody falls out ahead of you.
Right. This team has been super hot since the hiring of Rick Bowness right in the middle of the season, and you kind of stole my question for me with the end of your last question. I was looking ahead at the schedule, kind of comparing it to last year. It seems eerily similar. I mean, I feel like at this point last year, they were a little bit further back. But I was looking at the schedule, and that second to last game against the Bruins, I just feel like it's going to come down to that game.
Well, look at the final 5 games of the season. You start off at that point, could be the biggest road trip of the season. Tuesday, April 7th at Detroit. That's a game that could be for a playoff spot. After that, you go to Buffalo, who is the hottest team in the NHL alongside the Blue Jackets. They've come out of seemingly nowhere this season to really look like they have a shot to win the East. So that's going to be a good matchup at Buffalo. After that, again, you've got Montreal, who, depending on how things go in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division, they could be in a wild card spot. You're battling them. And then you come home to take on the Boston Bruins, another game that literally could be for the playoffs. And you wrap up against the Washington Capitals in what could potentially be Alex Ovechkin's final game in the NHL. And that'll be another big one with points on the table. So those last 5 games of the season are crazy, and I'm with you. Sunday, April 12th against Boston, that could be for all the marbles. I can't wait for it.
So I feel like there's been 3 moves this season that's kind of given this team a boost. The trade for Mason Marchment, the firing of Dean Evison, and the bringing on of Rick Bowness, and now we have
Connor Garland.
What do you think about Connor Garland's Blue Jackets tenure so far?
I mean, it's been great, obviously. He scored 4 times in his first 3 games with the Blue Jackets, the first player to do that in franchise history. And he just looks like a fit. Like, I think the most telling thing is when the Blue Jackets traded for Connor Garland before he had even played a game. Zach Werenski talked about the acquisition, and he said, I think he's just a fit in this room. Like, he knew Connor Garland from playing with him at the World Championships on Team USA. And at that point, they didn't know each other very well, and I think they quickly became acquainted and started to like each other there. And that was the thing that struck me, that Zach said that he will be a fit in our room, not even just what he does on the ice, but in the room. And I think you're seeing that early. Like, Connor Garland was in a bad situation in Vancouver. This is a highly competitive player that I think was pulling his hair out on the worst team in the NHL. Now he inserts himself into the thick of a playoff race. The team is hungry. He is hungry. He's a fiery guy. He's a competitive guy, and you're seeing that on the ice. I think the fit is very good. I talked about in the dressing room, but on the ice, he's playing with Sean Monahan and Kent Johnson. He had talked about kind of an admiration for Kent Johnson. KJ is a smaller player in the NHL, so is Connor Garland. Garland talked about, hey, he likes to watch other players in the NHL of a smaller stature and learn things from them. So he had an admiration for Kent Johnson. Now they're playing together, and I think they're bringing the best out of each other. And, Sean Monahan has really stepped up his play since the Olympic break as well. So that's a big play-driving line right now for the Blue Jackets. They had some more good chances in the game last night against Philly. I love Garland. I think he's been a great fit, and he's locked up for the foreseeable future. A 6-year contract extension kicks in over the summer, so Blue Jackets fans get to know this guy, get to love this guy, and hopefully are able to get to know him and learn more about him on a lengthy run through the Stanley Cup playoffs.
So I've known you for a few years working over at Nationwide Arena for the Blue Jackets. They write your check. They sign your checks. But I also consider you a very honest man. So I will just ask you, do the Blue Jackets make the playoffs this season?
The way that this team is playing, I would be so surprised if they missed out on the playoffs. They look like one of the best teams in the NHL right now to me. You talked about the addition of Rick Bowness behind the Blue Jackets bench. He has instilled a belief in this team. They're playing great defensively. I talked about hardly giving up any chances, any shots on goal. Since Bowness has been hired, they're essentially giving up one less goal per game, and they're scoring one more goal per game. The goaltending has been better. The team defense has been better, but it's just this overwhelming sense of belief. Even games the Blue Jackets have been trailing in, they've come back to force overtime and pick up a point. I talked about all the winning for the Blue Jackets. 16-2-4 since January 11th. Bowness took over on January 13th. That was his first game behind the bench. Right now, the Blue Jackets are riding a 9-game point streak. That's no fluke. They've played some really, really good teams over this stretch, and they're still finding ways to get points. It's just a belief. It's something crazy about sports. And I don't know, if you're not in sports, I don't know if you can feel that or you have an idea of what that means. But when a room believes that it can win, when a room believes it can play with any team in the league, it does something. And something is flipped for the Blue Jackets in that regard. So, I think this team gets in. I said it early this season, even when Dean Evison was still behind the Blue Jackets bench. I said this was a playoff team. I told you, I think, on these airwaves with T-Bone and Tyvis that I think this team would be in this position at this point in the year, battling for a playoff spot, and here we are.
All right, so coming up next, we'll have college basketball psycho Jacob Reimer join the show. He's going to talk about Ohio State basketball and March Madness as a whole coming up next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron? Yeah, Jerry? Something is wrong. Something's wrong? Yeah, it's definitely something.
Get Eco.
ECO. Thumping and bumping and jumping. What is? But it's not pumping.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry? Yeah, Aaron. Are we talking about your sump pump? Yeah. Isn't it great? Isn't what great? I like the sound of it. Sump pump. Sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, can you keep a secret? Aaron, I'm as silent as a bank vault in Switzerland. I kind of like to say it too. Hey, I should invent a sump pump that lets you know when it's working. How would it do that? It would say, sump pump, sump pump, sump pump. That's a great idea, Jerry, but a sump pump should be exactly like you. How so? As silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. Get Eco.
When we designed our Columbus Blue Jacket ticket plans, we designed them for fans like you. For fans who want to choose their games and their seats, and fans who need flexibility when their plans change. Columbus Blue Jacket season ticket plans. Get your tickets now at BlueJackets.com.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a warehouse operations manager.
Where are the forklifts?
Sold them. Too expensive. We're using scooters now.
So you expect us to move a 2-ton pallet on a scooter?
Just lean into it. Put your back into it, people.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs.
Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are, but here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Columbus, they're getting relief right now, feeling younger and jumping back into life full speed ahead, and that didn't happen in an operating room. My friend Dr. Ray Tesner and his team use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. Treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need the relief the most. This is how I was treated. I had a knee issue. I went in there. We had a consultation. I went through a series of treatments. And you know what? After a handful of months, my knee started feeling better and better until I was able to get out there and do the things I loved again. It's all true. It's all real. The sooner you get started, the sooner your inflammation eases and the sooner you'll start feeling better again. So find out if you're a candidate at your free consultation at qckinetics.com/Columbus or 380-208-4544.
Can't follow the Buckeyes to the tournament? Adam and Nicole hit the road for all the action.
Sponsored by Logan Services, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Keep it locked on 10TV, 10TV Plus, and your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
The Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus is the place to be for all the basketball action. Watch every game at once on 2 video walls spanning 50 feet, plus over 30 TVs. Come show off your jump shot in our King of the Court drawings and take home memorabilia from a Cleveland basketball legend. We've also got unbeatable game day food and drinks all season long. Guarantee your spot. Reserve a table with up to $300 in dining credits at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, you may be in big trouble with Chip Wood.
Our owner?
Free oil changes along with alignment?
On any 4-tire purchase.
And Goodyear's up to $160 off?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, but I'm telling.
But the Wood family is behind all this.
Oh, those rascals.
But don't tell the accountants.
Of course not. And what do they do again?
Buy any set of 4 tires at Tire Discounters and get a free alignment and oil change. Make them Goodyear's and save up to $160 more. See store for details.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Sunday.
Joining us right now is someone that I just called a college basketball psycho. He's Jacob Reimer of the Buckeyes Show, and you'll hear him on pregame show for the Buckeyes as well. Reimer, what do you think about the Buckeyes, and where do you think they're going to be seated later today?
Well, first of all, Merry Christmas to you, fellas. We have a bracket today, which is fantastic. Selection Sunday. It doesn't get much better than this. It's going to be in the 70s. It's the perfect March weather. It couldn't be better. But for Ohio State, I think we're going to see them ending up on probably the 8 or 9 line, and you're going to get in a pod where you'd have to play a 1 seed to get to the second weekend. And these ones are really good. I mean, they're the 4 that are expected right now. I think last night after Florida lost to Vanderbilt, you can make a case that if UConn wins the Big East, then UConn would have a shot at being that last one because they beat Florida head-to-head earlier in the year. But the 4 ones are ridiculous this year. They all have a net rating of 35 or higher, so they're going to be really tough. They all have strong front courts. If Ohio State has to get there first, so they're looking at an 8 seed. I like to think that they're going to be that. And looking at bracket matrix, you're likely going to go up against maybe like a Villanova, Georgia, Utah State, something along those lines. Very interesting teams that I still give Ohio State, the way they're playing right now, the edge in those games.
Reimer, how many brackets are you going to fill out?
So I'm usually, growing up, I would fill out a ton. And
like how many are we talking here?
And how many for keeps?
I mean, growing up, it was double digits. I know that.
Jesus, but man.
We will probably, I think we're going to try to keep it at 3 this year. We'll have 2 legit ones and then maybe one with a little bit more chaos and stuff like that.
So I feel like a lot of people are in the boat where they're kind of sort of paying attention to college basketball. And then when this time of year comes is really when they get into it. So what are some stuff to look for the more casual college basketball fan going into the NCAA tournament?
Well, I mean, first of all, the freshmen are outrageous this year. That's probably the best freshman class we've ever seen. You're going to see a lot, and it's crazy because I've always been a guy of you want to have experience at this time of year, and guys that are experienced guards that can take you deep and that can power a run. Well, this year it's going to be a lot of freshmen. You got Cam Boozer at Duke, who's going to be the National Player of the Year most likely. AJ DeBanta, who's looking like he's on another level right now for BYU. Darius Acuff, he is by far my favorite freshman guard. Going to be an All-American, probably the best guard that Calipari has ever had at Arkansas. And he's at Arkansas, but Cal has had a lot of great ones in his time at Kentucky. You got Derrick Rose at Memphis and all that, and that's a big thing to say about Darius Acuff likely being the best one that Cal has ever coached. I like him as a Kemba candidate, be a guy that can have a Kemba Walker or a Walter Clayton type run because he can do everything that can just power a team like Arkansas deep into the NCAA tournament. I'm going to pour one out to my North Carolina fandom with Caleb Wilson not being a part of this. So he had an injury that's going to keep him out of the NCAA tournament, which stinks. But you're going to see that a lot this year in this tournament. Is the freshmen are pretty ridiculous. They're going to have a lot of big time performances. It's going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Reimer, you talked about something I think that is important right there. Veterans in March Madness. Veterans are so key this time of season. Well, Ohio State has vets. Bruce Thornton obviously leading the way there. Do you think the Buckeyes can make noise?
I absolutely think they can, especially the way they're playing right now. And I know you just lost to Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, but I'm still, and I know you don't want to take moral victories, especially at this time of year, but considering the first two meetings against Michigan, and you're likely going to be in an 8-9 game where you have to go up against one of these ones where the ones are all very similar, the performance in the Big Ten quarterfinals against Michigan has to be very encouraging. You only lost the rebounding battle by 2, and they have maybe the biggest front court, the best front court in all of college basketball. You're going to get that against a Duke, against a Florida or an Arizona, likely who you're going to go up in the same pot against. So I think that has to be encouraging moving forward. Since the month of March, Ohio State ranks 5th in the country on Torvik overall, just of all teams. So they are really firing on all cylinders right now. And to the experience point, Dylan, Bruce Thornton, that's the guy. He's finally got his shot here of getting to the NCAA tournament, and I feel like he's going to take it and just try to roll with it and go nuts. And you got a guy like John Mobley Jr. who can get hot at any time. If those two, honestly, if you're getting what you got from John Blackwell and Nick Boyd at Wisconsin a few days ago where they both went for 30, I'm not saying that, but those two are very capable of doing something very similar like that. And if they're doing that, they're going to be tough to beat for sure.
So a big part of this time of year is the Cinderellas and the bracket busters. And I know it's early to tell because we don't have a bracket yet, but who's a candidate for maybe a smaller school that can make a run to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, it's all matchup dependent, as we know, but we will get a bracket here soon. And I do have an eye on some teams that I really like that are going to be in that maybe like 12 to 14 seed range. First of all, Hawaii. Like it's way out there, the Big West. Hawaii, their first tournament appearance in 10 years, but they really get after it defensively. They have a unique defensive scheme where it's just no switching at all, and they just lock you up. They force turnovers. It's a lot of fun. They like to push the pace too, which is really intriguing. Northern Iowa and the Missouri Valley Conference, I feel like has the best shot of anybody to get there. Ben Jacobson is in his 20th year coaching there at Northern Iowa, and they haven't been to the tournament since 2016 as well. They've been to the tournament 4 times with him as a coach, and they've won every time they've been there. They really get after you defensively. They're the number 1 scoring defense in the country. So they're going to cause a lot of problems to some teams that are like, with their defense alone, they've got great length. They can really disrupt some teams. So I like Northern Iowa, and I really love Hawaii this year too.
Reimer, simply put, who's going to win this thing?
So
why is that funny?
I was mentioning because it can be anybody, I feel like. And I know, like, we want to look at the ones and the net rating being higher than 35. They have the best shot at getting to the Final Four because of that. I still like to lean on guards this time of year. And I look at Duke and I look at Michigan, and simply put, I don't trust their guard play. And you're front court dominant with those two teams. I love Arizona. I think right now they're going to be my national championship pick, all depending on path. You got Jaden Bradley, you got Braden Burries, two guards that are complement each other extremely well. Jaden Bradley, an experienced vet. Braden Burries is likely going to be a top 10 pick. You've got a well-rounded team with Irvan Karchenkov and Anthony Del Orso are great 3-and-D guys, and they have a loaded front court as well. So I love this Arizona team. They've been great all year. I think they have the most AP top 25 wins this year. Like, they can go up against anybody and they don't have to beat you with shooting, but they can. So like that's the thing that separates them a little bit, and with the guard play as well. So right now, without a bracket, I still love Arizona, but it's all going to depend on path.
All right, I know these games start at noon, so we'll get you out of here so you can get your fix of college basketball. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Merry Christmas, and enjoy filling out these brackets later today.
Thanks, Reimer.
All right, coming up next, FanDuel released Big Ten football win totals, and we'll get into those coming up next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
The nightmare of the cleared drain. Those drain clearing specials from the other guys seem like a great deal until you realize the only thing really going down your drain is your money. At the Waterworks, we mean clean. Our service doesn't just clear your drains, it cleans them too. It's done right the first time, so that nightmare of a drain becomes a dream come true. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call 614-232-2222 to get started.
Hi, Dave. Your people were at my house yesterday. Are you happy they came? I never realized how much that junk was bothering me until it was gone. We love to give people that clean, happy feeling, Dave. Thanks for calling. I feel great. Can I say one more thing? Sure. When your wonderful people were about to drive away, I looked at my wife and said, that was love with its sleeves rolled up. Did your wife agree? Absolutely. Dave, you made my day.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch biscuits, fresh baked croissants, cinnamon swirl French toast. Hungry? Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store for your morning. UDF, mornings made for you.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring weather is unpredictable. You never know which way you'll be adjusting your thermostat unless you have the right windows. With Window Nation, you can count on your home being comfortable regardless of the weather. Their windows are customizable and energy efficient. Expert installations take just one day, and Window Nation products are backed by a lifetime warranty. There's no better time to upgrade with Window Nation. In March, the more you buy, the more you could save, up to 50% off all window styles and 0% interest for 60 months. Visit windownation.com for your free consultation today.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios, driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good afternoon.
afternoon. I'm Isaiah Jacob. The Columbus Blue Jackets scored a big win last night in shootout fashion, 2-1 over the Philadelphia Flyers. The Jackets extended their point streak to 9 games as they fight Detroit for the second wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. Up next for the Jackets, they host Carolina on Tuesday night. In the NBA, after missing the first 67 games of the season while recovering from a Jones fracture in his left foot, Max Strus has been upgraded to probable for Cleveland's matchup with the Dallas Mavericks today at 3:30. For the Cavs, Jared Allen and Sam Merrill are out, and Jalen Tyson is questionable. Today in college hoops, Michigan will take on Purdue in the Big Ten championship game at 3:30. Michigan beat out Wisconsin yesterday 68-65, while the Boilermakers beat UCLA 73-66. The men's March Madness brackets will be officially released at 6 p.m. on CBS tonight. The show will also be available for streaming on Paramount Plus.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
So FanDuel released Big Ten football win totals, and I want to get straight into them. I think I'm going to start at the bottom, so the teams that have the lowest win totals, and work my way up. And you guys just stop me when there's a win total that piques your interest.
I've got everybody's schedule up, too. So, like, if we really need to get into the weeds here, we can.
Yes, for sure. So, at the very bottom, we have both Purdue and Michigan State at 3.5 wins. We have Maryland at 4.5, Rutgers at 4.5, Northwestern at 5.5, Minnesota at 5.5, Nebraska at 5.5, UCLA at 6.5, Wisconsin at 6.5.
Let's pause there.
Yes.
Let's pause on Wisconsin because, I mean, 7 wins for Wisconsin this year. And would you like me to list off some of the big games on their schedule?
Yeah, let's do it.
Notre Dame, week 1. And they're playing that in Green Bay, by the way. I didn't know that. So I guess Lambeau Field against Notre Dame on September 6th. That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Notre Dame, week 1. They play at Penn State at the end of September. They go to UCLA on October 17th. They play USC on October 24th. They play at Iowa on Halloween. And then they wrap up against Minnesota. So I brought up Minnesota and UCLA because they have similar win totals as Wisconsin, the predictions. And then everybody else on that list has higher predicted win totals than Wisconsin. So we're looking at 5 or so really, really big games on their schedule. And you're going to tell me that a team like Wisconsin doesn't falter in any of their other Big Ten matchups? This is a team that doesn't have a tremendous track record the last few years.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, not a good track record. They went 4-8 last season.
A three-win bump is a lot in college football nowadays.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on recruiting or the transfer portal, but I feel like they really didn't hit any home runs in that. It's not like they brought in like an experienced quarterback of anything of that nature to be able to bump yourself up 3 or 4 wins. But this was interesting to me because between Luke Fickell and Mike Norvell, those are probably the 2 guys on the hottest seats in college football. Obviously, I think if they're able to go over in this win total, that for sure is going to save Luke Fickell's job for at least another year. But I find
that's kind of sad to think about too.
Yeah,
that 7 wins would save somebody's job at a school like Wisconsin.
Yeah,
the sport's come a long way in the last 10 years.
Yes,
man.
I mean, if you just look at where they've been, and unfortunately for Luke Fickell, who a lot of us here in Columbus are a fan of, it's just not been great for them. But I just don't see it. I just don't think they've made that many improvements to jump that high. And then obviously, if maybe you see them win 5 or 6 games, you see Fickell get canned, and who knows, maybe he'll come back here.
I just think there are a lot of big games on that schedule, man. And who knows how health goes throughout the season. That's just tough. That's tough for Wisconsin to win 7 or 8 games this year.
All right, so we'll continue. Iowa's win total is at 7.5. So is Washington and Illinois. Michigan at 8.5. I don't know if you guys want to stop there, but I do.
Yeah, let's stop at Michigan because this is another team that it's a big transition year for the University of Michigan. And it's another team that has a really tough schedule this year. They're going to play Oklahoma at home. They get to play Iowa at home. They get to play Penn State at home. They get to play Indiana at home. They go to Oregon, and then they go to Ohio State. So I assume this relatively high win total for Michigan, a lot of that is based around the fact that they play a number of those big games. I think 4 that I listed at home this season. So a built-in advantage there playing inside the big house. But, a 9-win season for Michigan in a transition year, maybe that's a little bit rich for me based off of what we're seeing on this schedule.
Yeah, this one's tough for me, too. You kind of sold me on it a little bit. Honestly, I think...
The home games, you mean?
Yeah, on just their schedule being quite favorable. Kyle Whittingham, obviously, coming in from Utah and replacing Sharon Moore. I think that's going to give them a bigger boost than people think. I think Sharon Moore is a crappier coach than people think he is.
Yeah, there's a lot of stability. There's a lot of baseline with Whittingham, right? You're looking at baseline 8 or 9 wins with a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's kind of his track record coming from Utah, and I'm really I would not bet this. This take me far away from this.
It's a no touch for me too.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like Bryce Underwood has to get better this year though? It feels like I think there's going to be portions of the season this year where he looks really good, and then I think there's going to be portions of the season where we're saying, has he developed it all? But I think some of those flashes could get them a big win.
But look at this schedule, man. Oklahoma, that's John Mateer week 2, right? Oklahoma week 2, that's a tough game.
Yeah,
Iowa, that's always a tough game. Penn State, we're going to get to Penn State in a minute because I don't like their win total either, but it's still Penn State. Indiana, the defending national champion, who will look different. And then, of course, Oregon and Ohio State to wrap up the season. You're playing Oregon and Ohio State 2 out of 3 weeks to finish the season. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Isaiah, to your point, I think Bryce Underwood does at best or at worst, depending on how you want to look at it, take a small step forward. There are reports out there that have been verified that they basically did not even have a designated quarterback coach for Bryce Underwood. I am certain with the new staff that is not going to be the case. So
they gave him the Caleb Williams in Chicago treatment, rookie year. Yeah, you're not allowed to watch film with anybody.
Right. So he will have that this season. So I think he will play a little bit better than he did in his true freshman season. And we'll see. I think that win total is about right for them. They'll probably finish around 8 or 9 wins. Moving along, USC also at 8.5. I kind of want to stop there just real quick, just because Lincoln Riley seems to be a name that's going to be on the move every offseason for whatever reason. I never believe it, but I think if they underachieve this season, you might start to hear more rumblings about him being out at USC.
Does Lincoln Riley, say it ends at USC, is he a guy that goes to a bigger and better program, a lesser than program to rebuild something, or kind of an equal to program?
Kind of tough to say without knowing the openings, obviously, but I think he would make a lateral move.
Yeah, that feels right to me, because I think kind of perception-wise, Oklahoma's a blue blood, right?
Yeah.
But the move to USC for him was a step up in terms of we're trying to get this program back.
Right.
If you know what I mean. He was the guy to make USC a power.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the savior of the program.
And it hasn't really happened. So that's just where that question comes from for me. Where does a coach like Lincoln Riley go from here? I still think he's a good coach, but do I look at him in the same regard as I did when he was at Oklahoma? I'm not quite sure.
All right, moving on. We got Penn State at 9.5.
Yeah, so Penn State for me, another school in a transition year with Matt Campbell coming in. I just don't know how this team is very good this season. You know what I mean? Last year, the expectations for Penn State were so high. During the offseason, we were talking about them being potential national champions. Drew Aller, I think, got gassed up a lot over the offseason for really no reason. He wasn't great last year. Then he got hurt. Penn State really tumbled. But you look at their schedule, too. It's light. USC, Michigan, and that's about it. Washington, but it's a really light schedule for Penn State. So it's kind of that, is this team okay enough to win these games in a transition year, or is it really bad?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Matt Campbell coming over. He's from Iowa State. He's bringing his quarterback in, Rocco Beck. They got James Peoples transferring there, former Buckeye.
I don't think Beck's any good, though.
You don't?
Like as an actual quarterback, a thrower of the football. I don't buy that.
I mean, I know it was a lot to do with injury, but I think they can't get much worse quarterback play than they did at the end of the season.
That's completely fair. And that schedule is bad. Like their schedule is bad. They don't have to play anybody.
I think, to your point, this has more to do with the schedule than the actual talent on the roster. Very favorable for them.
But for them to win 10 games in a transition year with a less talented roster than they had last year in all likelihood, I don't see that happening. 10 games.
If they win 10 games, I mean, that's putting them in the playoff, which is crazy for me to think, especially looking at the schedule. Like, if they get a 10-win season right now, they play this schedule. And it's funny because I look at the schedule, and I can't give you an L. I can't say that they're definitely going to lose this team. There's no Ohio State on there.
100%.
There's no Oregon. Like, you can convince me they can beat every single team on their schedule, but I don't think they're talented enough. So I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow got 10 wins. I also wouldn't be surprised if they somehow ended up with 6.
Yeah,
like I'm in the middle. All these games, Michigan, Washington, USC, are they better than them? I'm not sure.
Yeah, like you could see Penn State losing to X amount of mid-tier Big Ten teams, right? Just
Absolutely.
because it's different. It's a transition season, like I said.
So I feel like I need to go through the whole schedule now that we've made like an emphasis on it. So they open up against Marshall. Then they have Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin at home, at Northwestern, USC at home, at Michigan, Purdue, at Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, Maryland.
So it's like every team on this list that we've talked about predicted to win 5 games.
Yeah.
It's like all of those teams.
So to note, no Ohio State, no Indiana, no Oregon.
Yep.
They're dodging, I should say, all the premier Big Ten programs, at least the ones that we think are going to be the premier programs.
I mean, per these win totals, they're playing the 4th and 5th best teams in the Big Ten this year. Those are their 2 biggest games.
Those are their toughest games on the schedule.
Excuse me, 5th and 6th best teams, because Penn State's got the 4th most wins.
So we're going to have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to finish this off. We have 3 more teams to go, including your Ohio State Buckeyes. I'll tell you what their win total is coming up next on a Fan Sports Sunday.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Your child's oral health milestones matter. By age 1, see a pediatric dentist to establish good oral health habits. At 7, see an orthodontist to check your child's bite, teeth, and jaws. Around 15, visit an oral and maxillofacial surgeon to have your child's wisdom teeth examined. Remember, milestones met, healthy teeth set. Visit milestonesmet.org.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra. Exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati.
Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Joseph Senta and Dr. Barry Zeta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris, and now at their second location in Reynoldsburg, are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. They can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
With Aetna, I always get a quick answer, and I don't have to search on the internet. They go above and beyond to help me with whatever I need.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with access to convenient care options. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Can you smell it? No, not that. It's tournament time, baby. Catch exclusive coverage of the unveiling of both the men's and women's NCAA tournament.
Live Sunday, March 15th from 6 to 9.
Your home for the madness. The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, you know how we remind people not to be a sump pump grump this time of year?
I sure do. If people's sump pumps aren't pumpy, they sure can get grumpy.
And down in the dumpy.
But our $89 sump pump inspector